Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our virtually engaged webinar titled Volunteers Inspire, Engage, and Lead. And before we begin, I would like to introduce our Administrative Director who has the arduous task of managing myself and also the Office of Community Engagement, the illustrious Ms. Lisa Thurber.
Illustrious. Thank you, Mr. Dawkins. And I'm pleased to lead the Office of Community Engagement for Miami-Dade County Public Schools. Our district has a long-standing commitment to participation with the community. And last year, we held a virtually engaged webinar each month on different ways that we do just that. We had hundreds of folks join us to listen and learn best practices from our panelists that included volunteers, families, partners, principals, teachers, and most importantly, just like today's students who benefit from these programs through our office. To begin today's webinar, I'd like to give you an overview of the programs in our office. The first is business partnerships, also known as Dade Partners, which has been in existence since 1978. And this is the way that local businesses and organizations connect to support our schools and various district initiatives throughout the school system. We also oversee the academic year internship program, which provides opportunities for high school juniors and seniors to experience the workplace, and many of our business partners host them as interns and our internship providers. We also have family engagement, and we work closely with school administrators, teachers, and staff by providing professional development for them to strengthen their connections with our families. Another area we have is resource development, which has been so crucial these past 2 years during the pandemic. It provides many of our needy students and families with necessities like food and clothing, as well as assists our homeless population and others who are experiencing hardship. We oversee the employee recognition events that you all are familiar with, possibly like Teacher of the Year, our Ask Me Employee of the Year, which honors our bus drivers and food and nutrition workers. And then we also have our annual Community Partners celebration that honors our Dade partners and volunteers. We do a lot of engagement with the superintendent in the community through town hall meetings, virtually and in person, coffee and conversations. Just had one of those last Thursday evening, and CEO briefings. And then finally, last but certainly not least, is the area of our office, which is the topic for today, our school volunteer program, which began in 1972. As volunteers are beginning to return in person to our schools, today's webinar is designed to share how they're supporting our students and most importantly, inspiring others to do the same and volunteer. I'm pleased to turn it back to Mr. Vince Dawkins on my team who oversees school volunteers and mentoring. Vince?
So during the time of crisis, the art of giving is accentuated by individuals who go above and beyond to serve the community. And prior to the pandemic, Miami-Dade County Public Schools, we boasted over 30,000 of these individuals. And these individuals, our volunteers, they shared their time, their talents, enriching, influencing, and inspiring the youth and our community. Yes, the pandemic has had an impact on us personally, professionally, and some of us financially. However, this hardship has given us an opportunity to really appreciate and not take life experiences for granted. So today, we continue to build on this foundation that has made us great. Our diverse community has made us great. Today is the day that we collectively inspire each other. We engage the community and we lead by example. Good afternoon, everyone. My name again is Vince Dawkins, and I'm here with Miami-Dade County Public Schools Youth Volunteer of the Year, which is also my co-presenter, Ms. Nicole Torres. She attends the School for Advanced Studies. Nicole?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, Mr. Dawkins, for the warm welcome. My name is Nicole. Today, we will be having a conversation to address questions such as, 1, why do people volunteer? Who can be a school volunteer? And what can volunteers do to engage with the school in order to meet the needs of us, the students?
Exactly, Nicole. And I'm extremely proud to have a distinguished panel of individuals who paint a picture of what a partner in education entails. They inspire us, they engage, and they lead by example. So we will start with our 2021 Assistant Principal of the Year, and now proud principal of Redland Middle School, Principal Samuel Lewis. Welcome.
Mr. Lewis, hello, hello. So I have my first question for you. What has Redland done to put an emphasis on volunteer recruitment and community engagement?
Very good question, Nicole. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, rather. One of the things that I saw as I walked into Redland Middle School at the end of the summer as a first-year principal, I noticed that my school was like a beautiful nature preserve. We love the trees, the plants, the flowers, the wildlife, but the maintenance of the plants in the yard, with so much vegetation needed to be addressed, and it was critical. One of the things that I quickly did was to partner with Christ Fellowship Church, which happens to be right down the street from my school, and immediately Christ Fellowship, the pastors, as well as the community engagement liaison, Ms. Peralta, who is also on this webinar with us, quickly participated or created a beautification project for my school within a matter of days, and we're able to get over 50 volunteers to come out to the school to pull weeds, to trim trees, to just enrich the school overall, remulching the front of the school, and then assisted with further providing assistance with pressure washing of those key areas in the school to make sure that the opening of this school year was a pleasurable one for our students and our faculty and parents.
Wow, and what makes an entity stand out is really the culture. And in this case, let's talk about school culture. How do your volunteers and community partners affect the school culture?
Well, obviously, people love to come to a place that is beautiful. And the fact that teachers were able to see, these are some of my teachers that you see here on the screen there, they were able to see that within a couple of days of me being here, to be able to get such a massive crew of volunteers to come out, that automatically set the stage for what this school year was going to be all about. So quickly the buzz spread around the school. This guy is going to make some change. It's going to help to improve the overall beauty of the school and just overall programs that we offer here at the school as well. So they saw quickly that community engagement was going to be one of the ways in which we were to be able to ascertain that goal. And it is our mission to partner with as many organizations who are willing to come alongside of us to do the great work that we have to do here at Redland Middle School.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I know, Principal Lewis, that you are familiar with our next guest. You just mentioned her, Yadanya Peralta. She's the Community Engagement Director of Christ Fellowship. And here at Miami-Dade County Public Schools, we are very inclusive of faith-based community support and advocating for our students, sharing resources with the schools, and being that constant faith of spirituality in the community. Welcome, Ms. Peralta.
Thank you so much for having me. It's truly an honor to be here today. And yes, I know Principal Lewis, and we had such a great time doing that outreach. We really, really loved it.
So Nicole has the first question for you.
Yes, Ms. Peralta, can you tell us some activities that Christ Fellowship has done to support our schools?
Of course. You're doing a great job, Nicole. We have been able to do beautifications, as Principal Lewis just said, provided breakfast and prayer to our teachers. We provided backpacks with school supplies. We participated in Donuts and Dads resource fairs, and in Thanksgiving, for the past a little bit over 10 years, we've distributed what's called love bags to food insecure families. And it's great because we have also, we call them our missional arm, and it's called Caring for Miami. And Caring for Miami as well has a great relationship with the school system. They provide backpacks on the weekends to food insecure children. They provide 2 breakfasts, 2 lunch, 2 dinners, and 2 snacks to several of the students throughout Miami-Dade County. but we do believe that it's extremely important to be present throughout the year with the schools. It's not a one-time thing. It has to be constant. We love on the students, we'll love on the staff, we'll love on the school.
I would definitely agree with that. As a student, I know it's important having those resources and also building relationships with my peers. And I wanted to know, how do you build those strong relationships with the school community and the parents?
Of course, we do believe that it's important to work alongside the influencers of our community. And one of our biggest influencers are our educators. Our educators work daily to set our children up for success. So in turn, we must come alongside them to encourage. So to build a strong relationship, you must nurture it. So staying connected and being present is a great way to solidify that relationship. We solidify it with our teachers, with the staff, and it sort of trickles down to students and the parents.
Thank you so much for your response.
You're very welcome.
Our next person that we have is from Learning for Success. And she is this organization is a recipient of the Distinguished Superintendent's Choice Award. And this is an honor that's given by our superintendent to volunteers and community partners with outstanding community service to Miami-Dade County Public Schools. Learning for Success has connected volunteers with our schools and have provided students with real-world experience in career exploration. I welcome Ms. Tanya Reynolds, who is the Program Director of Learning for Success. Welcome, Tanya.
Thank you very much, Vince. It's an honor to be here. I'm just so excited to share with your audience what we have done over the years and best practices, so thank you.
Ms. Reynolds, hello, welcome. Tell the audience about the mission and goals of Learning for Success.
Of course. So Learning for Success is a 30-year-old organization, and the whole purpose and the mission of the program is to really help students connect their dreams, their passions, their skills, their talents to their future through a job, through partnerships with schools, teachers, volunteers, and business partners. We have surveyed many of our teachers in our schools. We have about over 70 schools that we work with in South Florida, 6,500 students. In elementary all the way through middle and high school. And we talk to our teachers and they say that students don't know what they want to be when they grow up. They don't really have an idea. And so our goal and our mission is to really try to help them form good, tangible goals and dreams for themselves. They'll say that they want to be a football player, a musician, an artist, which is great. But we basically partner our volunteers with teachers to work with students and share their pearls of wisdom, their nuggets of truth. The goal is for these volunteers to relate to the students, to reinforce important critical soft skills using our program. So they'll teach them like communication skills, decision-making, teamwork, bias, and stereotype, and to connect with them. So our volunteers are in the classroom, they're delivering workshops, we interview them, and they're basically being an extra layer of support for the students and also for the teachers.
Wow, that is super inspiring. And I have a community service organization of my own that I started a little more than a year ago called also Learn to Express. And it's about student programs, and that's all for free. And it's directed by student volunteers and also for students in the community. And I wanted to know if you can give me some strategies to recruit volunteers as well as retain them.
That's a great question. So our recruitment strategies are really with referrals. So we don't advertise. We have our business partners, they send out blasts that we give them the blast. They send them to their employees. So if we have a business partner, let's say Bank of America, they would send a blast out on our behalf. We also host information sessions, which is short. We want to keep it short and spicy. So 15, 20-minute information sessions to get, prospective volunteers interested. We also do what's called an ask. where we contact specific volunteers, let them feel really good about the good that they're doing in the community, and ask them directly to volunteer with us. So that person could be an individual from an organization, or it could be a business partner, but we are not shy about approaching business partners and asking them to volunteer. And our retention strategy, so we've been, our retention rate is probably 90 to 95%. And we have a lot of retention strategies, but one is, we let the volunteers know that their involvement in our program is flexible. So we make it really easy for them to volunteer. Our program is very structured. Our curriculum is very easy to follow. The different things that we offer, it's very easy. So we tell our volunteers that there is some built-in flexibility when they volunteer. We respond in a timely manner. I tell everybody, customer service, we are an agency, but all of the people that we serve, students, teachers, volunteers, business partners, senior executives, principals, they are all our customers. And we want to make sure that we treat them with the best customer service experience ever. So when they work with our organization, they like what they see. They like the way that we respond timely. We don't take them for granted. We always tell them thank you, because after all, they are volunteering and they're not doing this for anything other than passing on their pearls of wisdom and their nuggets of truth and giving back. So we give them the best customer service we could ever give. And if there are any issues, we are very diplomatic because they are our customers. So we want to treat them with the very best respect that we possibly can. And that has truly been one of the keys to success in retaining our volunteers over the years.
And
As a matter of fact, yeah. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, and I echo that, and I just wanted to ask, because you recruit your volunteers from a referral basis. At school sites, I know that we have to have an ask for volunteers. And I would like to ask if Mr. Lewis, I know you were at John Ferguson, and one of the things that impressed me and why you contribute to your award of Assistant Principal of the Year was the amount of community involvement and community participants you had, especially on the task force committee. You had over 30 people filled the media center from your community at John Ferguson last year. Can you give us some additional strategies of how you go about recruiting volunteers and partners from a school standpoint?
Great question. First and foremost, I believe closed mouths don't get fed, right? So if you want something, say something, right? So any opportunity I have, it could just be a random person. You just never know. Each one knows one, right? Each person has a contact somewhere or the other. Every staff member, every friend, every church member, everyone has someone that they have a contact with. And just having conversations and just being transparent about what the needs are puts you into connections with others, okay? And that's one of those things that I found to be very successful for me, is just talking to people. I don't have the answers for everything. I need help. Can you help me in this area? Yes or no? Sometimes the volunteers come to us. A lot of times we have to go to them, and then we're partnered with other community agencies who give us the contacts. In terms of individual volunteers, we do recruit our individual volunteers to participate in various activities and events, whether it's a field trip that we need parents to attend as chaperones, a sporting event, even our PTSA. Just restarting the PTSA here at Redland Middle School is something that we believe will get even more volunteers into our school. And we're excited about that, to restart our PTSA next week so that we can be able to do some of the things that we know will help to propel this school to rise above sea level.
That's awesome. And then Ms. Peralta, I'd like to hear from you as well, because I'm sure, from the faith-based standpoint, and you do so much in the community. I know you visited several schools and did beautification projects prior to the beginning of schools. So that took some manpower, right? So how do
Oh,
you
yeah.
go about within your organization, within your faith-based group, recruiting and convincing, your congregants to participate as volunteers in the community?
Oh, yes, definitely. It's not easy, I'll tell you that. But like Mr. Lewis was saying, if you don't ask, people don't know. People don't know what they don't know. So if you don't offer, the worst thing that they could tell you is a no if they don't want to serve. But we do put it out there. We have several avenues that we use. We have what's called small groups. And those are groups, we have about 300 small groups that get together, to learn the word. And so we always reach out to them, and they're always wanting to serve. We have students, we have our young adults. So we have different avenues that we use. We also have a newsletter that we share, and not just to our congregants, but we also share it outside, because we also provide hours for students if they wish to serve. That's also a great tool. But most importantly, I think you have to have a passion to serve and to love on people. And so I think I always say, you go to serve anywhere, whether it's a school, whether it is doing a beautification, whether it's feeding the homeless, whatever opportunity you get to serve, it's so much more rewarding to you than it is to them. Honestly, there's so much that you receive that you're able to, I'm looking at it in general, but I'm actually, I'm really looking at it coming from the church. We're asked to do this. We are to be the hands and feet of Jesus. And if we're supposed to be out there and love on people, no matter where they're from, no matter the color of their skin, it doesn't matter. Just to love on people is something that is so, so important. So I think that just sometimes just moves people, when there is no agenda, when there is nothing, people enjoy serving. But to us has been just sharing stories and having people, from our small groups, from our young adults, actually just serve. It's been, it's sometimes difficult because of COVID, but people have stepped up. We saw it when we did Redland. So people are being moved to serve now.
That's the key thing. People in the community stepping up, seeing the need and stepping up. And Tanya, I want to circle back to you. We recruit the volunteers. Do we provide, or do you provide your volunteers? Because I'm looking at all the things that you all do, and it seems like these are professional. What kind of orientation do you provide for your volunteers and preparing them to come out to the schools?
Yeah, good question. So yes, our organization, all the programs that we offer are meant for professionals. It's a professional base. So we don't recruit, anybody else other than a professional, someone that's working or someone that's in between careers. And so we do have them go through training. It's a 1-hour training. It used to be, before COVID, it used to be 3 hours. Where we would do, a full, half of a day with a game and an activity. But they have to go through training where they learn and understand how to use the program. It's very easy, our curriculum. And so that's basically what we do. They have to go through an orientation, and then they have to do another separate meeting with their partner teacher to plan out the year. And they appreciate that so much. When we say there's 2 steps to getting started. First, you have to be trained, so you're not creating anything. It's all there for you. And you also have to meet your teacher and plan out your year, which the teachers appreciate because they have set dates and times that they know the volunteer is coming into the school. So, when I talk to the volunteers, I actually spoke to a volunteer yesterday who's been with us since 2007. And he's been through every different school you can think of, from elementary and middle, and he's been all through, different parts and different zip codes. And I asked him, I said, there are so many other agencies out there, yet still you decide to come back every year and renew with Learning for Success. And I asked him why. And he said, he looks at the glass as half full and not half empty. So volunteers may have a good year, and they may have a bad year. But regardless of his situation, on the year he's had with, with serving, he comes back because he says that he wants to be able to give back. And that is truly what resonates with all of our volunteers. They really want to give back. They are all professionals. They want to be able to serve and see the next generation or future young adults grow into success. And they want to truly pass on their pearls of wisdom, their nuggets of truth. They understand the stresses that the teachers are under, and we explain this to them, that the teachers are under incredible stress, more so now than before. 10 years ago, it's just gotten increasingly more difficult. And so we explain to them, that this is an opportunity and a platform for them to share their experiences, their pathways to success, how they got into their industry, the challenges they had, share their story, and truly be that coach, that role model, that advisor for the students, so that these kids can look at them as kind of like a role model or a mentor for the year. And a lot of teachers have said to me, that some of these kids don't have support. They really don't have any support. And so it is very important. The value of a volunteer in the classroom, working with the students, working in the schools, is immense. And that is something we should never take for granted, because for the students, studies have shown that by having someone like a volunteer in the school, high school dropout rates reduce, grades improve, behavior improve. And I've even talked to teachers who have said that when they have volunteers coming into the classroom, they see the students really thrive and their leadership skills sort of wake up, and they're more motivated and more focused.
Absolutely. And Tanya, someone put in the chat, some of our greatest volunteers are our senior citizens, and those seniors, and some of the reasons why is echoes of what you just said, as far as experience and
Yes.
wealth of knowledge. So many times we have challenges and adversities, and they could slow or even stop our momentum from
Absolutely.
accomplishing goals. And
Yeah.
how we handle our challenges, lays a foundation of our strength, our determination, and our resilience. So I want to bring in our next panelist. Our next panelist is Courtney Nixon. And I met Courtney at Madison Middle School, and we were calling parents of students who did not come. It was about 180 students, and we were reaching out to the parents. And after we finished, it was a long process, but after we finished, she shared a story with me, and it inspired me. It inspired me as an educator. It inspired me as a Black male. And I'm going to ask Courtney to share her story and what motivated her to give a year of service to the community as a volunteer. Courtney?
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Courtney Nixon, a second-year AmeriCorps member, a first-year TL, proudly serving at Madison Middle School, and it is an honor to be here with you guys today. So to share my story, it's a long story. So to make it short, it's one thing
We
to
have time,
see.
Courtney.
It's one thing to see online and to hear about stories of students that don't want to continue school, but it's another thing to actually see it in your face. And for me, I actually seen it in my face, and it was like a big slap in the face for it to be a family member. And for that family member to say they didn't want to continue school at the age of 7 because they didn't have the support from their parents and the school, it kind of hit home to me. So I just wanted to give a year of service because of that, and beyond that, because I seen the kids in my community just wanting to just give up, like they really don't care. And I wanted to be the one to say, hey, don't give up. You should always want to keep going, because I didn't give up. I kept going. And I have younger siblings. I have a younger brother and a sister, and they look up to me. They honestly ask me all the time, like, when are you going to go back to school and stuff like that? So I do it for them. I honestly don't want them to give up. I don't want them to follow in my footsteps. I want them to be better than me. So that's why I decided to serve.
So Nicole, she's very close to age with you. Do you have a question for her, Nicole?
Yes, yes, I do. Your story, Courtney, super inspiring. You currently work, full-time college student, and giving service like through City Year Miami. It's super inspiring, and I congratulate you. And I
Thank
wanted to
you.
know, yes, yes, of course. What has this experience taught you?
So this experience through City Year has taught me a lot. Um, just to begin, their core values alone, I took that with me, not just in school, but I took that with me personally in my personal life. So that also made me into the person I am today. Um, the professionalism, I always doubted myself as well. I always doubt myself. So City Year actually helped me to become a leader and not always shy to the back and be a follower, but to actually come out to the front and open up and be like, hey, I could speak up for myself, or hey, I could be a leader of this. So that's kind of something that they put into me. I'm very, very thankful for that. With City Year, I also gained like many mentors. Like I have different managers and everything that I could look up to, that I could turn to for help. So I honestly thank them for that.
Can
They
you
taught me.
tell Courtney? Can you tell the audience a little bit about City Year and what City Year represented? I mean, I know we have City Year Miami right here, and you can see them at various schools. So for those people who don't know who City Year is, can you kind of give us some insight?
City Year is a nonprofit organization that like they kind of help bridge that gap. So we have a lot of inner city schools that don't have the proper funding, resources, and everything like that. So City Year, we come in, we bridge that gap. We're in the classrooms with the students. We talk to the students. They come to us for everything. We're there for them in the school and mentally and physically.
Wow. So this is a year of service that you give to an organization. Um, Nicole, do you have anything further?
Yes, I wanted to know, Courtney, like what are your future aspirations? What are your future goals that you have?
So, like, just a small future goal is to just finish school and become an academic coach. Start off as a teacher, become an academic coach. But beyond that, I want to eventually open my own nonprofit organization that'll do the same, bridging the gaps and, stuff like that. I enjoy it. I enjoy being around the kids. I enjoy not just being in the classroom because that's just something so small to me. I want to do more than that. I want to go beyond the classroom.
Thank you, Courtney. I definitely can see you, opening up your own school, your own nonprofit. And I know that you will serve as inspiration for other like young high school students and college students that also want to pursue volunteering in their future as well.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So today and thus far, we have shared some best practices in creating relationships, supporting the needs at the schools, strategies to recruit volunteers, and activities as volunteers or employees, what we can do as community members to keep the schools engaged. We have listened to stories of inspiration. I have a final question uh, for each panelist. What is one thing that you hope participants will remember from today's session in regards to volunteerism and community engagement?
Don't be shy.
Don't be shy.
Don't be shy with expressing what your needs are. If you have a need, go forth and speak it out so that the need can be addressed some way, somehow. Don't be afraid to make new relationships with organizations, and proximity is key, right? So you have to look at what's around you, because the blessing is around you. Sometimes we are so entrenched within our buildings that we don't look outside of our building to know that there is an organization or two, even me in the Redlands, in the heart of being covered by all of the agriculture, there are still organizations that want to partner with the school, believe it or not. So just tap into that and don't be shy, or as they used to say, don't be scared.
Well, the way I see it, when people start focusing on others and not on themselves, it makes a huge difference. I feel one of the ways, even serving with the Miami-Dade County Public Schools, you're helping the future generation by making a positive impact in the community. So, and like Mr. Lewis said, ask, just ask. The worst I could tell you is no, you know, and we continue to serve the community just for the betterment of the community, a better tomorrow for the future for our students. So that's what I have to offer.
I would say, offer the best service possible. Your constituents are your customers. Those are your customers. Treat them with the highest level of care, and make them come back. Make them want to come back because you treat them with that care. I actually worked with a school for years, and this particular teacher that I've worked with, and she thought that that her school was the only school that we worked with, and I told her, no, we work with over 70 schools, and she was blown away because she thought with the level of attention I was giving to her school that I was only assigned to her school. And I said, no, I work with 70 other schools. So that's the kind of care that you want to feel like, make them feel like they're royalty. I also would like to say, listen to your partners, listen to the teachers, listen to the students, and see where their strengths, their skills, their talents would match. So even if you're talking to a volunteer, they want to serve, but they may not know in what capacity. They may think that they're good in one area, but you might think that they're better in another area. So listen to them, sort of feel their heart, and find a way that you can, use their skills and their talents in an effective way so that they would love their experience and want to come back. So listen to them and make it easy. Don't make it too hard, make it easy.
For me, I would love for them to take away, never give up, and to always, someone is always in need. So just know someone needs you.
And one of the things that we're doing this for a reason. We're doing this for the betterment of the community. Our youth are very important, and I am an advocate of hearing students, listening to students. And we have a student here with us today, which is Nicole Torres, who is my intern as well. And Nicole started a nonprofit organization, as she mentioned in the beginning. Nicole, from a student's perspective, we want to hear your voice. How do your volunteers, how do your peers who work with you, how do they feel about serving the community? What's the feeling of that? Is it something that's real? Is it something that I got to do this just to do it? What's the overall feeling of your peers and serving the community?
I would definitely say it's a feeling of lots of love. People volunteer at Learn to Express because of love that they have for the subject, love that they have for helping the community. Today, I have volunteers that still call me and text me and tell me, oh, I miss the kids, I miss a certain student. Because at Learn to Express, we do a lot about expression. We offer expression classes like dancing and public speaking, singing. And it's a lot of classes where, you can really shine your creativity. And we also offer academic classes, but with everything that we've done, it's been a lot of love that people have been putting in to make lesson plans, to speak with the students, to organize assignments, projects, things like that. And I'm super happy that I've been able to be heard by the school, because I remember when I was 16, 2 summers ago, I was in my neighborhood and Dr. Carvalho was there, and I went up to him, I spoke to him, shared Learn to Express, and he heard me, and that's how I was able to connect with Mr. Dawkins. So I know, and I'm super proud of this Miami-Dade County Public Schools, because they really hear our voice as students, and I know that the volunteers with Learn to Express really appreciate everything that we've been doing, everything as a team to help the community.
Thank you, Nicole, for sharing that. Very important. And I know some people had a couple of comments or questions in the chat, and one of those questions reflected on, hey, Are volunteers allowed in school because of COVID? Absolutely. We are encouraging you to continue to have these partnerships because they help drive the school. They help shape the culture of the school. So just as we are following COVID protocols, we hope that the volunteers are, we would like the volunteers to follow those same protocols as it relates to safety and health. We can all agree that, you know, that our diverse school volunteers will always be an invaluable asset to our school and district, and the relationship built between our caring community members, our employees, and our students is simply priceless. We got a couple of more minutes, so if you don't mind, if you have any questions, if anyone in the audience have any questions that we can address in the chat, you know, this would be a great time for us to kind of address those questions. Lisa, did you see any questions in the chat that we can?
I have not seen any yet, or in the Q&A. Well, oh, here we go. How do we get involved? Here's one.
How do we get involved as volunteers, or is that someone from, I guess that's a parent. Mr. Lewis, can you address that one? How would a parent get involved with volunteering at the school?
First and foremost, go and speak to the principal or assistant principal. I guarantee you they will fall out of their chair in excitement at the fact that you want to volunteer. Then express to them what your skills and abilities are and in what capacity you're able to volunteer. At that point, they should be able to point you to the district website where you can create a community portal account. Once you do that, you'll go ahead and register to be a school volunteer. There is an application on the community portal where you can go ahead and do that and identify the school or schools you plan on being a part of. I will tell you that you want to make sure that you're picking things that require the quickest level of clearance, which is level 1. Anything that is, you know, overnight requires level 2 clearance and background fingerprinting, and that process takes a little bit longer. But we do have a great team at the district who expedites that process to get our volunteers cleared as quickly as possible. That's Mr. Dawkins.
That was what he was talking
Thank
about.
you.
Yes,
Perfect.
yes.
Vince, we have another question. When schools do field trips, we used to have a volunteer number that has changed. What can we use now?
Yeah, so the volunteer number that we've had in the past, which was the parent and or community portal number, we're no longer using it for field trips as we have the Raptor system. So everyone must come to the school. Anyone who wants to volunteer must come to the school with a valid ID. And that's what we use for field trips, the last 4 digits of preferably the driver's license or any ID card. So we do not use any particular number per se for volunteers. We don't have a school volunteer number.
Looking here, I don't see any other questions. We do have a comment though, which I think is interesting. Maria Ratti is sharing that she helps parents that have questions. My kids are older, so I like to share what I've learned from my mistakes. Help teachers by becoming a room parent if your school has those, and join ESAC. I think ESAC, we have a lot of acronyms in the school district, but the Educational Excellence School Advisory Council is always looking for parents and business community representatives to serve on that and with the principal to guide some of the decision making that's done at the school site level. So we encourage you to do that. And then of course, all of your school activities, just think of the things that your students are involved in, whether it's sports or music programs. Those are all looking for volunteers. After school programs and things like that also can't be forgotten, as well as, you know, PTA and other parent groups, PTO and things like that.
Exactly, Lisa. And let me just let everyone know we have a wealth of activities that you or volunteers can participate in. And it's based on the needs of the school. One of the recommendations that I would give to anyone wishing to volunteer with Miami-Dade County Public Schools is find something that you like doing, number one. Find what is your talent. If it's music, that school or the school that's close by you may need some assistance in music direction. If it's art, the same thing. If it's someone who is an athlete, if it's someone who has a brains for math, to serve as a tutor. The sky is the limit as to what you can do with Miami-Dade County Public Schools. And it's all based on the needs of the schools, the service that you provide. Um, on behalf of Miami-Dade County Public Schools, Office of Communications and Community Engagement, we would like to thank all of our panelists again for joining us today and sharing your thoughts, your experiences, and best practices. And to all our school administrators, our teachers, our community involvement specialists, we have parents on here, we have some students, I see you all watching in your classroom, community members, your engagement in the community, it strengthens us, and that's our purpose. My quote again was knowledge is theory, wisdom is action. Before we all conclude, please, if you have a quote about community engagement, please share that with us all, okay? And that concludes. We'll stay on a couple of more minutes just for questions.
Yeah, Vince, I have a couple more questions. If you could explain the two levels of volunteering, level 1 and 2, the difference.
Yes, level 1 is the majority of activities that we have available for volunteering, whether it's a day chaperone, a tutor, someone who wants to volunteer with the arts, or a band, PTA, PTSA. Those require a level 1 screening, which is a national background check that we have on anyone wishing to provide services or support in the schools. The level 2 is a higher security position, such as a mentor. Mentor is the most common level 2 volunteer. And mentor requires you to be under the umbrella of one of our many organizations in Miami-Dade County Public Schools um, who support mentoring, or who have mentoring programs. So level 2 requires parents, community members to be fingerprinted to serve in uh, those high positions. Overnight chaperone, that requires a level 2 uh, background screening as well. And if you're going to volunteer as a district volunteer here at the district office or at one of the regional offices, that requires also a level 2 background screening.
Okay, another question we have is, do they need to present their ID every time they come into the school building?
Absolutely, absolutely. Remember, even if you're a visitor, this is for the safety and security of everyone involved at the schools. So even if personnel knows you, you should still present your ID. I know some of you may have a relationship and they know you by face, but if you're volunteering, especially, we track your activity and we track your hours, and your school gets credit for those hours. So if you're a visitor, most definitely show your ID each and every time. If you're a volunteer, absolutely show your ID each and every time, and also get credit for all the hours that you're serving at your school.
Okay, there's a question about whether people can volunteer at more than one school, and I answered it in the chat, but I don't think I answered it for everyone, is that yes, you can volunteer at multiple schools. There's another question on faculty members doing field trips. Do they have to complete the volunteer application process, Vince?
Staff that's doing field trips, that's a part of your everyday duties. So to answer the question, no. However, if you're an employee with Miami-Dade County Public Schools and you wish to serve as a volunteer at another location, um, then you must, register to be a volunteer. So that school that you're serving at will get the, the hours for your service.
Okay, and then is there a cost for fingerprinting and the background check?
I cover all the costs, Lisa. I cover all the costs. So right now it's no cost. I
Vince,
mean,
Vince
that's
personally covers them. No,
that.
the district values volunteers, and so that's something for many years that we have taken on is the cost of that, because we feel that your service is really the least we can do in return for the hours. And that's the other reason for checking into the buildings. The Raptor system tracks the volunteer hours, and our schools are eligible for awards from the Florida Department of Education in terms of volunteers and volunteer hours. And then the last question I think is there's a lot of things here in the chat, and so I'm going to just mention that if you need assistance, and I see a lot of specific questions, or if you're a school site volunteer liaison, please reach out to our office at 305-995-2995. And we have staff to assist both the coordinators and the volunteers with their application and with the clearances and things like that. Vince, I'll turn it back over to you.
Absolutely. If we don't have any more questions, again,
Vince, can I just say one thing?
of
Would
course,
you mind? Because I know we may have some business partners that are watching this as well. So if they're interested in getting involved with, careers and in what we do, they can contact me directly and then register through the district. So that's how they would, get involved, is through contacting us, and then I would pass them over to the district website for them to register.
Tanya, can you include your contact information
Sure. Yes, I will
in
do
our
that.
chat?
Yes, absolutely. I'll do that right now.
That's very helpful.
Yes.
Nicole, do you have a website in case any students want to get involved?
Yes, I'll add it in the chat now. It's learntoexpress.org, and all our handles, like on social media handles, are Learn to Express.
Okay, and Mr. Lewis, do you have any needs that you could ask of anyone out there who may want to volunteer at your location? This is one of the benefits of participating. You get to recruit right off this webinar.
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm always looking for donors to assist with our incentives. One of the things that we try to do is get our students to participate in the iReady program, as well as the Read 180, but a little incentive goes a long way. And if there's anyone on the call today that is interested in being able to sponsor an incentive, please don't hesitate to reach out to me at SLOUIS@dadeschools.net.
We are recording today's webinar, and it will be posted, Vince, on our YouTube channel, correct?
Yes, we're going to post it on our
and in the EduVision Dade Schools TV.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
thank you all for joining us.
Thank you for having us. Truly an honor.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It was fun.
Thank you all.
Have a beautiful day.
Thank you.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you so much for everything you guys spoke about. And I learned a lot today.
Awesome, Nicole.
I did too. I learned a lot too. You guys do an amazing job. Good work in all of your efforts. Thank you.